Morning all. Thought I'd come out for a quick wander this morning. It's not far from my house. Just come down to the East Somerset Railway, which is a privately owned railway now. Well, the lines that was cut in the 1960s by Beecham. It's now privately owned and sort of run as a sort of tourist attraction. It's very nice as well. If anyone lives in the area and fancies a trip down here, it's definitely worth it. I'm definitely not sponsored by them, but we do come down to the cafe here quite often to get something to eat, and it's all very nice, really, to be honest. And it's not really my usual sort of type of shooting, and I seem to say this regular, but again, I just had a bit of time this morning, so I thought I'd just come for a wander. Got the Intrepid 4x5 again, and yeah, just thought I'd see what I can get. There's lots of old buildings here and old trains and all sorts of stuff like that. And what I would say is, you know, shooting this sort of thing can be quite difficult, in my view anyway, because I see lots of photos of old steam trains and stuff, and obviously they're not run normally in this country. They're always run as sort of a bit of a tourist attraction or heritage or whatever you want to call it. And obviously what I want to try and get away from is photographing what is technically a museum, I suppose, for want of a better word. And they're doing an amazing job, of course. You know, it's important to keep these old traditions alive and stuff, and show the youth of today, I suppose, that what it used to be like back in the day. Obviously way before my time, but still. And obviously from a photography point of view, for myself anyway, I want to make sure that I'm photographing the now and not necessarily the past history. I know that's a bit of a weird thing to say, but you know, like I say, I wouldn't walk around a museum with my 4x5 and shoot all the stuff in the museum. So it's that sort of thing, I guess I'm saying, I'm getting at. But anyway, I don't know if anyone else feels the same, but that's just me. So yeah, so there is a building down here that I have spotted. It's an old building. I believe it's probably part of the old railway, but it's a dilapidated shed. And I don't know, I saw it just caught my eye, and I thought I'd get in and shoot it, really. In fact, actually, that is it right there. So yeah, so I quite like the look of that, so I'm going to try and shoot that with a 4x5. I've got only got 4 sheets with me today. I've got 2 sheets of HP5 Plus and 2 sheets of Portra 160. Now I'm actually thinking that this shot might work a bit better as a pano, but I'm going to shoot it on my 4x5 as 4x5. I haven't bought I haven't brought the wide angle back today, so I might come down. Like I say, it's only just down the road for me, so I might come down again and shoot it with that on another day. But for now, that's what I'm going to go for. So yeah, without further ado, I'll get on with it. Okay, so there is a couple of problems with this scene here that weren't a problem about 2 weeks ago. The first one is that they put like a scaffolding tower next to this, which wasn't there before, and is too new for this shot in my view. So it just makes it look all wrong with that scaffold tower there. The other issue with this is that they have taken down, there's a yellow bag on top of what was a chimney, and that chimney was actually about a metre above that shed. And that was there about 2 weeks ago, and they've obviously taken that down. I'm guessing that's why that tower is there. Maybe they're taking the whole shed down, I don't know. But that is hugely frustrating, because I've walked down here loads of times and none of this has been touched, and I guess now the railway's sort of closed for the winter. They're obviously doing works here, so that they've taken that down, and that is massively annoying. So I think I'm going to have to move on from this, because like I say, that tower doesn't work, and I could try and remove it from the shot afterwards, but I'm not a massive fan of doing that. So yeah, so frustrating as it is. I'm probably gonna have to move on down the line and see what else I can find. So yeah, we'll carry on. Okay, so I do think there's a bit of a scene here, if I'm honest with you. If these lights actually work, I need to come back down here at night, because these are, I'm assuming, well, they're quite old lights. I'm not sure when they were put in, but some time ago. And as you can probably see, there's quite a row of them going down this path. Perhaps if that train car wasn't there, might be a better shot, I think, but I can just sort of see in a misty morning, bit of darkness, and these lights are sort of illuminating this path going down with the rail line. I think that might be quite a good shot. So definitely worth coming out here to sort of see that and you know, scout that for a later date. So I might come down here later on tonight, or maybe another morning. Like I said, if I can get a misty morning, then that might be a good shout. But for the moment, yeah, I'm going to carry on down here and see what I can get. Okay, so what I've done here is I've just stopped off here. This is a train type thing, I guess. Obviously seen better days, and is probably here to be restored, I should imagine. Now, I've just sort of walked past it and seen a bit of a detailed shot, I suppose. Again, I don't usually take this sort of thing, but I quite like this. So there's a number 2 written here, and obviously these rivets around the edge of the train here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 135mm lens and just crop in here with them rivets with that number 2 in the background. I think that looks quite nice. Quite like the browns and the greens there, and obviously that would have been a part of the original engine as well. So yeah, I'm going to take that and we'll see what it comes out like, I suppose. I think I'm going to go with Portra 160 on this one, I think, and have a colour shot of it. So we'll see what it looks like. We'll get on and set this up. Okay, so we're all set up here. I've had to fiddle around with this to get it right, because literally I'm looking for just sort of the 2 ridge lines here, just to get this section in here. I'll have to do a bit of cropping afterwards just to sort that out, but it took me about 10 minutes to make sure that was square and everything. But now we're all set up, we're ready to go. So I'm trying to just keep this to a second, not go anything more than that, because I'll start getting into reciprocity failure then. So what I'm going to do is shoot that f16, which gives me a second. So I'll just adjust this to f16. Make sure that the shutter blades are closed, which they are. I'll just do a test shot. Working fine. Cut the shutter again. Make sure I don't disturb the camera too much. Just take that out. The sun is coming up from the top here, so I'm just going to try and sort of maybe just try and shield that a little bit from the sun. I don't think it's catching it, but you never know. So just hold that up here, make sure I'm not in the shot. First one in the bag, and we're done. I'm not going to take two here, I'm just going to take one, and then I'm going to move on to the next thing. That's just done. We'll move on. Okay, so again, not quite sure how I feel about this, to be honest. What we've got here is an old tube station, or tube train I should say, which has been brought up here for restoration, and it's I believe it's sold. I was just talking to one of the guys that works here and restores these things, and when I walked past it earlier, I think I mentioned on the video that obviously this graffiti has appeared on the side of it, which I wasn't here when I walked down here last time. Now I just thought that it was part of it, and that they put this on the side because this, you know, the guy's actually signed his name on it and all that sort of thing. And I thought that someone had done this as, you know, as part of the sale type thing. That's what whoever's bought it wanted on it. But the guy was actually telling me that what's actually happened is they've had a graffiti attack a couple of nights ago, and somebody's actually graffitied the side of the train, which is a real shame, really, because these guys spend a lot of time. There's been a lot of money put into restoring that back to its original glory, and someone's come along and done that to it. However, it does fit with the London vibe. You know, for you guys that well, anywhere in the world, doesn't matter where you are really, but you find that metro trains and anything in inner city trains and that, they've always got graffiti all stamped down the side of it, so it sort of fits with the scene, I suppose. But like I say, I'm sort of struggling a little bit for shots around here, although I'm sure there's loads and loads. And I did say that I didn't really want to shoot something that was you know, a museum piece, which I suppose this is. Apparently it's going to be turned into an Airbnb, which I think is pretty cool, to be fair. But I thought I was here and I'm stood here, I might as well take a shot. So I'm actually going to shoot this in black and white. So I've got some I've got some HP5 Plus. So I'm actually going to shoot it at ISO 200. Just trialing it out. I've never actually shot it at 200. I've shot it at 800 and 1600, but I'm now going to shoot it at 200. Usually it's ISO 400. So we'll see how we get on with that. I'm going to shoot it at that. Settings on the camera. So I've got my 90mm on. Just to give me a wider shot. I'm going to crop this down later because at the moment I'm picking up the post and this in, but I'm actually going to crop it. What I'd normally do with this is I would have shot it with my 120mm roll back for this to get actually, you know, a sort of a wide angle pano sort of shot, but I haven't actually got any 120 film with me, so I can't shoot it like that. So I'm going to shoot it 4x5 in portrait mode, and I'm going to crop it down later just to get the train and some of the track and some of the building behind. I'm dealing with obviously the sun being right there, so you can probably see my shadow is here, and the camera shadow, so I'm just waiting for that to just to sort of dissipate a little bit behind a cloud, and then I'll take this shot, and hopefully it comes out. Even if it doesn't, I'll put it up on screen anyway. But yeah, like I say, I'm in sort of two minds really. I think it's a shame for the guys because they spent a lot of time and effort, like I say, restoring this back to original glory. But it does look quite sort of fitting, really, that it's got graffiti on it, given where it's come from. So yeah, I'm going to get on and shoot this, and hopefully it comes out. So settings on the camera, we are at f22, and it is 30th of a second. So I just need to adjust all this stuff round. I've got to admit, it's not often I actually use my my 90mm lens. So f22, 30th of a second. Just do a test shot with this. Close that. There we go. Shows. Yep. Just do another test shot with it. That's a problem with this. It seems to stick. Might have to get this looked at. Yeah, it seems to be sticking a bit. That it just sticks just before the shutter opens, so I'll have to probably get this in and get it looked at. But anyway, just going to wait for this sun to sort of dissipate a little bit, and then we'll get this shot taken. Actually, if I duck down, I'm actually out of it. I was dissipating a bit now anyway. That's it, shot taken. There we go. So I'm going to move on down the down towards sort of direction of the car and home, I suppose, and I'll see what else I can take on the way down. There is actually the old signal box that's down there, so I might photograph that building again. Museum piece. It's the original building. Yeah, I'll probably shoot it on the way back. Like I say, I've come out with 4 sheets. I'm determined to use them all. So yeah, we'll get on down there and take that. I'll just get this packed up here. Okay, so last shot of the day. I'm going to shoot this sort of dilapidated shed, I suppose. I sort of was walking along. I was going to shoot the signal box, which is just here, but the sun is directly behind it, and I'm not feeling that shot. But I quite like the look of this with the tree in the background. I've got the signal post, whatever that is, there, and then I've got obviously the building there. Now, I played around with competition. I've sort of moved that way, I've moved this way, and I've separated the pole from the building, but I couldn't quite separate the step ladder, because the more I moved around that way to try and separate, the scene seems like it was just sort of pulling apart and falling apart. So I've gone with this. I've accepted that I'm going to have to lose the ladder detail in the, to the building, because the two are overlapping, but I've managed to get a little bit of a gap between the actual pole itself and the building, so there is a little bit of a gap there. So we've got HB5 Plus in here. I'm going to be honest, I've got one more sheet of Portra 160, but when I put the film slide, the dark slide back in the film holder, what I've done is I put it in the wrong way, so now I've got 50-50 on whether I use the same sheet twice, expose the same sheet twice, or whether I use the brand new sheet, because both of them are showing that the same way round. And what I mean by that is, obviously, what I usually do is I have dark part of the black part of the slide facing out when it's not exposed, and when I've shown it the light, I will then turn it round, and either the white or the grey will then face out to show me that sheet's been exposed to the light, and that's the way I do it. So I've had to make a decision on whether I double expose a sheet, 50-50 chance of that, or just leave it and waste a sheet of Portra. So I'm just gonna have to waste a sheet of Portra, which in today's money is probably somewhere between 7 or 8 quid, that sheet. So that's that down the pan. But like I say, there's so much that can go wrong with 4x5 photography, and unfortunately that's one of them. So anyway, so back to this shot then. So I'm going to shoot the ISO 200, just to keep it the same as the other sheet that I've shot. I'm doing f32, and that gives me 30 per second, so I just need to try and reach over here and change that. Make sure the shutter is closed. Get this to f32. There we go. 30 per second, which is on. See if I can actually see, make sure the shutter's closed from this side. The other way of testing it is actually just to do a test shot. Yeah, that is closed. Because it... Okay, so the battery died while I was filming that last section there. What I was going to say, I think, was just to make sure that you double check your aperture bays are closed before taking that dark side out, and obviously do your sort of test shot or test fire to make sure the lens is working right before you obviously expose the film to the light. So obviously what I'd done there is I just made sure the aperture bays are closed. I did the test shot, everything was working fine, so I took the dark side out, took the shot, and obviously the shot is what you've just seen. Now, I want to talk about that shot because clearly it's failed. I've had a look back for everything just to see where I went wrong with that shot. Now, the only thing I could see that where I went wrong was the fact that I've mentioned in that video that I shot that at ISO 200. Now, obviously, the box speed of that film, or what that HP5 is rated at, is 400. So I dropped it down to 200 and exposed. Now, what I did at the developing stage is I didn't account for that drop in ISO. So I think that the final image has come out muddy because of that reason. I didn't develop it right. So I can only put it down to that. So it's just one of them things, really. But like I said before, I'll always put up my failures as well as, you know, photos that have gone right. So anyway, there we go. What's weird though is the train shot that I cropped. That one didn't come out too bad, even though I did expose that at ISO 200. So you'd expect the same result because they were both developed together in the same tank. So I'm not quite sure what happened with that one. That one came up as bad as it did, but the train one wasn't too bad. But anyway, that's what it is. So if you liked the video, then a like to it would be absolutely amazing. And a sub to the channel would be even better. It helps me out loads. Please feel free to leave a comment below. I always read them all, and I do reply to them all as well. So hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you in the next one.